I'm going to be honest with you. I was in the process of editing what was going to be a very different video. See that artwork there? It says The Waiting Game. Because for most of the night tonight, we were under the impression that John Harbaugh, who had left New Jersey and was on his way back home to Baltimore, potentially to talk to the Tennessee Titans and the Atlanta Falcons in the coming days, that the Giants were going to be in a waiting pattern. So much for that waiting pattern. Welcome to New York, as John Harbaugh is now the newest coach of the New York Football Giants. Unbelievable. The Giants get their guy, folks. They did it. This is incredible stuff. They did everything right. I was going to say this in my previous video. I'm going to say it again. The Giants had done everything right to make sure that they were not going to go empty-handed and get potentially the best coach on the market right now. Granted, I know you got Mike Tomlin, but Mike Tomlin's out there. He's not gonna coach next year, right? John Harbaugh right now, when he was let go by the Ravens about 2 weeks ago, is the best coach on the market right now. And the Giants targeted him. They said, this is going to be our guy no matter what. They went in a full court pursuit to get him. They did everything they could. They had multiple phone calls. Joe Shane had multiple phone calls with him and his representatives. The Maras had multiple calls with him and his representatives. Chris Mara, okay, he had lunch with him on this past Sunday. Then you had the fact that the Giants had Tom Coughlin call Harbaugh. They had Eli Manning call Harbaugh. And yes, even Brian Daboll, knowing full well that this guy was going to be his successor to the job, a job that Daboll had himself just 3 months ago. Daboll didn't have to do this. He, too, got on the phone and spoke to Harbaugh about what was involved with the Giants and recommending that he take this job. And it was an incredible job by the Giants to go out there and get him. They bring him in. They have a full-day interview with him that lasted well into the night. Then after dinner, the report was initially, whether you looked on from Ian O'Connor on the New York Times or SNY with Connor Hughes, everyone reporting that it sounded like he was going to leave the building. And that got Giant fans really, really nervous, because when they say leave the building after a day of having to hear that the Giants didn't want that to happen, what does that mean? Does that mean he's not going to take the deal? Does that mean we're going to wait here in a waiting pattern for days into the weekend? Well, just before midnight, now it comes out that the Giants have it all done. It's finished. He is now going to become the head coach. Adam Schefter reporting it. Paul Schwartz of the New York Post, he was one of the first to come out there saying all signs pointing to John Harbaugh becoming the head coach of the team. And it is now basically official, okay? Outside of just signing some dotted lines, and of course a few, I'm sure, incentives here and there, and whatever's in the contract, he is going to come to New York as they're finalizing an agreement right now, according to Schefter, to become the head coach of the team. The deal is not final. Contract numbers are still being negotiated. There's still a lot to work through, one source said, but barring any setbacks, Harbaugh is ready to accept the Giants deal. The Giants are expected to hire him as soon as possible, and that will be the end of it. He will not have that interview with Tennessee. He will not have that interview with the Atlanta Falcons. As someone pointed out, who was that on Twitter that I pointed out earlier this evening? I forgot who that was. Harbaugh's protege, of course, being Andy Reid. When the Kansas City Chiefs went for a pursuit of him back in 2013, they made sure Andy Reid didn't leave the building. And he never did, never got a chance to speak to other teams as they made sure to get Andy Reid. And, of course, he's been there, now going on 13 seasons now, 14 seasons with the Kansas City Chiefs. And they have, of course, 3 Super Bowl titles to go to that. So This changes everything for the Giants. It really does. They're a young football team. They got a young quarterback who they feel could become something, Jackson Dart. They got, of course, a number one receiver, Malik Neighbors. They got a lot of young pieces on the defensive side of the ball, good aggressive players. They just needed a head coach. And they needed not just a head coach, they needed a leader of men, someone who could go out there and say, the buck stops here with me. I'm the guy. And the Giants get a coach here who, unlike any coach they've ever hired, brings a Hall of Fame resume. Think about it. This is the New York Giants, right? This is a team that's had so many great coaches in their history. They had Vince Lombardi and Tom Landry as assistant coaches back in the 1950s. Neither one of them, of course, became head coaches with the Giants. They did elsewhere, obviously, and went on to have great success in Hall of Fame careers. Bill Parcells, when the Giants hired him in 1983, no one really knew who Bill Parcells was. He grew into that Hall of Fame role with the Giants, of course, winning a couple Super Bowls. Bill Belichick, his assistant, of course, grew with Parcells here with the Giants, and of course went on to even greater success with the Patriots. They can thank Tom Brady a lot for that. So those guys, went on. That was kind of a homegrown kind of thing with those guys. Even Tom Coughlin, while Coughlin came back, when he came to the coach of the Giants in 2004, had a resume, very good resume with the Jacksonville Jaguars, had been to an AFC Championship game, not the level of this guy. And let's be honest, Tom Coughlin already had a familiarity with the Giants, having been an assistant on Parcells' staff in the late 80s, early 90s. So he knew about the Giants, he knew about the Mara family. But this is so different for the Giants because they always bring in guys and coaches who have some form of a connection for the franchise. It's not the case with Harbaugh. Not the case. This is a guy who brings in 180 wins. He brings in a Super Bowl title. He brings in instant credibility, well respected across the entire National Football League. This was a home run, and the Giants had to hit it, and they did so. As they, more than likely, and I say that only because of contract terms, more than likely get the biggest fish in the pond. And now we're going to see some of these other coaching vacancies start to fill up here in the next several days. But for the Giants, man, it's been a long time since the Giants have been the faces of New York in a good way, and now they can take over. I know a lot of people say that the Knicks run New York right now, since they're like that right now, the best of all the teams that are struggling right now. It's going to change because you can start to add the Giants more than likely to that list. I like their chances in the NFC East. I really do, because look, Philadelphia had a lot of issues this year. Do I really buy Jalen Hurts, even though they won a Super Bowl last year? Not really. And there's always talk about Nick Sirianni over there in Philadelphia. The Cowboys, they can never get out of their own way. Washington, same thing, can never get out of their own way. And with the Jaden Daniels injury, horrific injury he had middle of this year, who knows when he will be back next season and what kind of shape he'll be in. So to me, the Giants have a great shot next year in the NFC East. I'm telling you now, they're going to be on the top of a lot of boards all summer to win that division. We'll see how that transpires. But for today is a day to celebrate, and celebrate big time for all those big Blue fans out there. Like and subscribe. We'll talk to you next time.